Hey there, everybody. I'm Mike DiLisio.
I'm Chris Yi.
And it's time, Chris, for an Oink Games Extravaganza.
An Oink Extravaganza, Mike. Missed opportunity. Start it over.
An Oink Games Extravaganza. So what we're going to do is we're just going to talk briefly here about 2 games and 1 expansion, in quotes, and then that'll be it.
Yeah, we'll
just let you know, it's an extravaganza, though. Make no mistake. So let's head over. I'm going to show you a little bit of an overview on 2 of them, and then on another one, we're just going to show you a sample round because it's easier than trying to teach it. Then we'll come back here and let you know what we think. All right, the Deep Sea Adventure expansion die is very simple. All you would do is replace one of the 2 dice from the original game, Deep Sea Adventure, with this new expansion die. It also happens to come with this little dice tray, although fundamentally it's just for show, just for fun. All this does is it changes up one of the dice. So instead of a 1, 2, or 3 that you had on the standard dice, now you've got a 1, 2, 3. Also, you have a times 3, and you've got this little symbol here, which basically means you move as far as the number of people in front of you moving in the same direction. So depending on whether you're going further down deep into the ocean or if you're heading back towards the submarine, that's going to determine what that value is. It essentially means that you could go up to 9 spaces if you rolled a couple of 3s, and you can also get quite a few off of this face if you have a large number of players that are going in the same direction as you. It just changes up the distribution of the dice. That's it. Instead of doing a traditional overview, we're just going to show you a sample round of this because it'll be much easier than trying to explain it. Every round, one player is going to be a security leader. This round, it's Camilla. Chris and I both have some fake diamonds that are hid beneath our little sheet here. These are the real diamonds. They have numbers that correspond with how big they are. Camilla has to start off by saying which one of these potential scoring cards. 1 is the easiest, but lower potential scoring. 4 is the hardest, but the highest potential scoring. All right, Camilla, which card are you going to pick?
Number 2.
Number 2, which means that there is a couple of little things that we need to know. One is that whoever is the burglar, it's definitely going to be Chris, cannot swap out with a number that is 1 away from the ones that are out here. So if there's real diamond 21, if Chris wanted to swap a fake 20 or a fake 22, you can't do it.
He can't.
You can't do it.
We'll drop a 20 on it.
He does have a 22.
Also, it means that you're only going to be passing out 2 cards, 1 burglar, 1 security. All right, so go ahead and shuffle those out
Shuffle
put that in front of you.
What?
And we'll find out who is legit and who is not. I'm not looking at all. Okay.
Chris was. Don't
all right.
trust
So
Chris.
at this point, now that we've looked at our rolls, everyone's going to close their eyes. You're going to count to 15, let's say,
15?
right? Yeah, that says between 10 and 30 in the book.
I'll do a slow 15.
Do a slow 15. We'll all close our eyes. Whoever the burglar is going to swap out a fake diamond.
Got it.
And you'll see what happens. All right, are you ready?
Yep.
Here we go.
15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beep.
All right, so we're going to now flip over this timer, which is about a minute, I think, and we're all going to try to talk about which one is clearly fake. All right.
Okay.
Chris definitely is the burglar. 100%.
Okay.
I would not lie to you.
Why?
You would never lie.
Also, I can't tell which one of these are different. The big one looks the same to me.
The big one looks the same to me. See, I
You're
can be
gonna
helpful
at
too.
27.
Okay,
27 was a start.
6.
So we can't
Neither of you could have switched the bigger one.
No.
So imagine that.
Wow.
You trying to lead me with obvious information.
Guilt.
I wonder if the smallest one was changed. The smallest one was a 3.
The smallest one's a 3. Mike cannot, because of the restriction card, be swapped out with my 2.
It could not.
So it could be swapped with your 1.
It could have been swapped with my 1, but does that look that much smaller? Doesn't to me. Doesn't to me, Camilla.
No?
No.
Looks like
I'm wondering.
It is
That looks a little
smaller
odd,
than.
too.
Okay, what was that one then?
Kind of
That
thinking
would
you
have
guys
been the
would go with the
9.
middle one, though. That one looks a little smaller.
It does.
Doesn't
Chris
it?
couldn't have switched it with his 8, but he could have switched it with his 13.
And you, Mike, have the.
I have the
You
11.
have the A. So that could be your 11 over
It could
there.
be. It looks to me more like a 13 than an 11 to me.
To go. Well, the 13 would be
13 is Camilla,
me,
so
which
you
would be
can't.
C.
Oh, it couldn't be Camilla.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't
Definitely
suspect
not
the,
me.
the police
Definitely
chief.
I'm going to go on record right now.
All right. We don't have a whole lot of time. What are we thinking, Camilla?
All right. I'm going to, you know what? Be bold.
All right.
And let the time run out.
You can just knock it
And
over if you want.
then I'm going to go with this one.
Oh.
Nope.
Which one did you?
Yeah!
So
It
you
was
switched.
this one.
I swapped out the.
Yeah, that's
No,
what
it wasn't
I
the
thought
one.
that was one. That was the
No.
one. So,
Well.
because Camilla chose card 2, had she would have been successful, she would have drawn 2 from the score pile that have 2 3s and 4s, but a lot less 4s, mostly 2s and 3s. She would have kept one, put the other one at the bottom of the deck. But since she did not win, and I was a security guard and I did not win, neither of us get anything, Chris would just draw the top card from the deck. Whoever gets to 10 points first wins the game. The security leader would swap around to the next person on the left.
Rolls.
You would do it all over again. There you go. That's the diamond swap. All right, here we see Order Overload Cafe. Each player is going to have one special ability that they can use once per game. Like maybe they'd have this one. Make a player other than yourself say the first letter of each card in their hand. Or make a player other than yourself say the last letter of each card in their hand. Or discard one card from your hand. Again, you can use those once per game. You also have a salesmanship that has a happy side and a not so happy side. All right, what you're going to do is you're going to play the game, take a number of cards, that is the level number times the number of players. So let's say we were playing a 3-player game and we're starting on level 1. The order taker will take those number of cards off the deck. So in this case, 3, and then they're going to read those cards out loud to everybody. Iced coffee, apple pie, cold brew coffee. Once they've read them out loud and everyone tries to remember those 3, they're going to shuffle the cards up and they're going to hand one out to everybody, including themselves. The player to their left is going to look at their card and try to say a card that they think somebody else has. So, all right, I've got the apple pie. I remember there was also iced coffee. So I would say iced coffee. The person to their left is going to check, hey, I've got iced coffee, and they flip it over. And then the next person's going to go and try to do that. To clear a round in a 3-player game, you'd need 2 players to clear all the cards out of their hand. So this player is already clear. If this player was able to clear with cold brew coffee, hey, we've been able to clear the round. If it gets back to you and you did not get it, you would have to flip over your tile. And if all players had their salesman chips flipped over, you'd lose the game. Otherwise, you would say, hey, we cleared level 1. And now we're doing it again, but instead of 3 cards, now we're doing it 6 cards. Level 2 times the number of players, 6 cards. And you're going to continue to do that, remembering that once per game, you can use your special power to try to help out, maybe trying to remember by getting the first letter of a card or the last letter of a card. That's it. That is Order Overload Cafe. All right, Chris, I promised an extravaganza. You ready to deliver?
I'm ready to deliver. Let's talk about a single, maybe 6-sided, object, an expansion of sorts, if you will. Actually, I was really excited about this one, Mike.
I was too.
Yeah, I picked up a copy at Gen Con. I know that you did as well.
I did.
Because I like Deep Sea Adventure quite a bit. Silly push your luck game, not one I take very seriously.
Right.
But being able to add one little change into that, like that, it works for me.
It does. I mean, it seems to me that the whole kind of purpose of this expansion die is to address some concerns that people had with the original game. Do you think? I mean, that to me, this feels like a response to that.
I guess, yeah, just to add a little bit more dynamism into it, because people do say, even some people here at the office say, well, the problem with Deep Sea Adventures, it gets into a rut and everybody drowns. It's fairly predictable if you've gone too far.
Right.
And, the point of the game is trying not to have gone too far.
Right.
Turning around before it feels like it's too late. And so, I don't know, I like that this die just changes that dynamic a bit. Are you still going to drown? Yes.
You will.
Absolutely.
Right. And yes. And so I agree with you. I guess the bottom line on this is that I would never choose not to play with it.
Absolutely.
Every single time I'm going to play with this little blue die. Will I play with this? Maybe not, because I don't know how functional this is. If we're considering this part of the product, I don't think it's terribly functional. It's cute and it fits the aesthetic. But I do think that it maybe makes up for, it would be very hard to sell a single die.
I guess.
Right.
I'd pay a few bucks. I'd pay $5 and just get a die shipped to me. But the die tray's okay, but they do explode out of there pretty much consistently.
They do.
But getting that die and maybe getting a 9, even sometimes when you don't want it, when you're like, oh, I'm going to just kind of tiptoe my way back to the submarine now, woo, you're going to give yourself the bends.
Yes.
Shooting up that fast.
Absolutely.
But I like what it adds.
I do too. All right, then do you want to just come back and talk about scores at the end? Or we can even...
Sure.
We'll do that. See, we put a lot of preparation work into this one.
You can't over-plan an extravaganza, okay? You got to just shoot
You've got to lean into the extravaganza. All right, so let's talk about the diamond swap next, the diamond swap. This is one that we chose to do an overview round because this is a hard one to explain. This is one that takes a little bit to wrap your mind around.
It is, yeah, and it's, even as you were teaching it, we were just sitting there kind of trying to figure out what the game was.
Yes.
And I could safely say that after playing a few rounds, I see what it is. I wasn't enamored with this one.
Yes. And we're aligned in that. My biggest issue with it is that it presents itself almost as a potential like hidden traitor type of a game because someone, is going to be the robber and you're trying to talk people out of it. And maybe both people or depending on player count, maybe multiple robbers. But the core system of the game, being able to differentiate from one diamond to another, is difficult enough in and of itself.
Sure.
That I don't know that really adds anything other than complexity and confusion.
Yeah, I mean the idea. Okay, one person has to move the diamonds around, and it's even just physically tricky to play.
Yes. Because
it's a very small footprint, so someone has to kind of reach over, and you're going to hear their chair squeak, the table you're going to lean on.
Right. Right.
I didn't see what the physicality of the diamonds really added to the game. It's very subtle,
yes.
I suppose, is kind of what it comes down to. Well, no, I wouldn't have put the 26 there. Mike must have put the 23.
Right. Yeah, and they tried to do things to kind of add to the dynamism, if we use that in this game or the earlier game. But with this idea of, well, if I choose this number 4 card, it makes it harder for me, and so I'm going to score better. But I don't know that the differences were all that important. Not being able to switch with the diamond of the number before or after. Well, depending on the diamonds you have, that might be moot completely. Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like it was an interesting idea that maybe in practice didn't quite pull off what it was trying to do. Yeah.
Sometimes Oink, I think, sells games on their form factor
yes.
Rather than the neat hook. You talk about Oink Games being a company that, if you're going to sell a box in this size, you have to have some sort of hook.
Right.
Besides the fact that the box is this size. And
yeah.
I wasn't sold on what the hook was in Diamond Swap.
I agree. All right, so last up in our extravaganza is Order Overload Cafe. Now, I need to just put this out there for me personally. I have said in the past that I absolutely abhor memory as a mechanism in board games.
I remember you saying that.
Memory is the main mechanism in this game. That being said, I didn't hate it. And for me to say I didn't hate a game that has memory is a bit of praise. I feel like a couple of things work to its advantage. Number one is that it is a cooperative memory game.
Right.
So I guess when it's something that's spread out among everybody, I didn't feel quite as hampered by the fact that I don't have a great memory. Because I feel like to some extent in this game, once you get to a particular level, no one's going to have that kind of memory, or very few people. So It didn't bother me as much.
Mm-hmm. I think that its setting is fun.
Yes.
Right. The idea that you're calling out these these orders and stuff. It fits. It works with it. And so you're sitting there trying to remember. Okay, was there a donut in this round, or was that last round?
Right.
And so the setting works with this idea of memory, trying to recall the different orders. Mm-hmm. And so I agree. It spreads the weight of the recall effort amongst the people at the table.
Yeah.
By the later rounds, I full disclosure, we have not won this game by any human measure.
No. I think level 4 is maybe as high as we've ever gotten, if that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. First time I set it up, or first time you said it, I always said level 3.
Yeah.
I think we might get there.
Yeah, so we did a little better than that maybe. But what are your thoughts on the quote-unquote special powers? Because basically I think there are only 3 in the game. And 2 of each, and so it plays up to 6. So you theoretically you can have 2 versions of each. It's a one-time use. I'm glad they're there, but they weren't terribly exciting to me. Like I didn't feel like I had something that really set me apart.
I am just in the moment thinking this out loud, and if I'm wrong, the internet will let me know, of course. I wonder if these special powers, because I don't think that they're very useful.
Yeah.
They did not have a lot of recall trigger for me. I don't know if those are powers made for the English language.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Right, because a lot of recipes will end with the letter A or E or something.
E. Yeah, that's true.
And so I don't remember. Is it hot coffee or is it
iced coffee or latte? Or you're right.
Yeah.
So many of them have the same last letter. So that's an interesting point. I hadn't really considered that.
Yeah, I just thought of it in the moment. And of course, if I'm wrong,
sure.
I'm not trying to accuse them of anything, but it's just the powers are not really there for me. I think this is a funny kind of memory recall game. It's more of an activity.
Yes.
And I don't mean that it's not a game, of course.
Sure.
There comes a way that you accidentally say that snobbishly sometimes,
right.
but this is a fun activity. I'm just not going to pursue the act of getting better at it and trying to chase a high score, but I'll have fun calling out did someone have a iced macchiato? No! Flip over my token sad.
Yeah. I will say that I think that in particular environments, I can see this being a really good convention type game or larger group game. But I don't know that it's something I'm going to come back to terribly often. It's not the kind of game I play. Like you said, I'm not going to try to get better at it.
Yeah. What this is for me is... This is a top 10 list in the making, actually.
Oh, all right.
A small player count party game.
Yeah.
Right, because such things exist, and that's what this is. This is, you can have 3 people sitting around the table and just laugh and laugh and laugh. It's more about that, it's more about the act of doing it. That's kind of fun rather than the pursuit of getting good or winning or anything. But I had fun with it.
And since you mentioned player count, I have a strong suspicion, and you mentioned this too, that I think it's easier the smaller player count it is.
I would have to imagine that when you get to round 4 with 5 players, I'm not memorizing 20
orders.
Things.
It ain't happening, folks. It ain't happening. Extravaganza or no, I'm not getting it. All right. Let's just go through these really quickly and give them a number score because, that's what we are contractually obligated to do.
Yeah, so that's what we do around these parts.
Starting with the Deep Sea expansion die, I'm giving it a 7. This is something I would never not play with.
Yeah, it's really hard to sign a number. I'm gonna go with an 8.
All right, do it
for the die, and 5 for the tray. But I mean, I own this die now, and I'm always gonna play with it, so I feel like an 8's fair.
Yeah. Diamond Swap.
I'll lead out on this one.
Do.
It's a 4 for me. It's too subtle, and so whereas certain games are more raucous and funny, it's too subtle. It's a 4 for me.
Yeah, I'm going to come in at a 5. I think we're not far off. The difference between a 4 and a 5 really is not terribly much. It's not a game I would recommend. I feel like you said subtle is one thing, but also I feel like it doesn't fundamentally pull off what I think it's trying to do. I don't think it really fulfills the experience I think it's trying to evoke, and so it just didn't work for me, a 5.
Yeah, no, what's the difference between a 5 and a 4? I think the 4 is I'm kind of really dissuading you from it. I don't know if this is necessarily, it's for a different group.
Yeah.
I'm kind of just dissuading you, I think.
Yeah, whereas I wonder if there would be a group of people that might like it. I don't know. All right. And then Order Overload Cafe. This is a really tricky one for me to put a number on, Chris. I'm really, really struggling with this one because it's not a game I'm going to want to play very often. But I don't know if I can think of another memory game that I would rather play, if that makes sense. So I'm going to come in at a 7. I know this is very, very touchy because I don't tend to like these types of games. But I would play this. I would recommend playing this. I would, in the right circumstances, I would suggest this game. And so that's why I'm coming in at a 7, although it is not usually my type of game. The cooperative nature of it, how short it is, all of those things work to its advantage and make it one that's close. I will tell you it's very close for me because I have such an aversion to memory in a game. But for this one, cooperative, short, I'm giving it a 7.
That's funny. I'm coming in at a 6.5 because I think it has a place. I really do think it does. And I would play this a few times. I would, once again, I say this about several Oink games. I think this is a game I would have fun teaching a variety of people rather than continually playing it with the same group of folks. And so I think it's got a place. I think it's quite good. So 6.5 from me.
All right. Well, Chris, that was an extravaganza.
I'll say so.
A whirlwind.
I need to go take a nap now.
Exactly.
These old bones of mine are not handling these extravaganzas.
It's a lot. It's a lot to take care of. All right, well, everybody, that's it for us. I'm Mike DiLisio.
I'm Chris Yi.
We are signing off from Dice Tower headquarters.